Live from Penn State's campus, this is Nittany Talk. I'm Kate Delmonico, and in today's episode, we will have the return of our politics panel, a debate on Disney's live-action remakes, as well as a recap on the Eras Tour. We will also be diving into the latest news stories and taking a look into Fashion Week. Now let's get to talking. For this segment, we are bringing back a fan favorite. This week, the politics panel will be focusing on the president, a Republican nominee, and much more. Over to you, Olivia.
Thanks, Kate. Now I want to talk about the 2024 presidential race. I mean, things are changing daily. This is a very important race. I'm going to start with you, Jace. Do you have any predictions for the Republican presidential nominee? I mean, there's 13 candidates running.
Yeah, there's 13, but I really think there's one. I think it's really going to be a landslide with Trump getting the presidential nominee for Republicans. He just has such a hold on the party right now, and there's such a big base within the party that's the MAGA party, or the MAGA base, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I really don't see anyone beating him in New Hampshire or Iowa next year, so I think we're going to see another Trump-Biden situation, and I'm really not prepared for that.
Yeah, I would say that I do think that Trump is going to have a lead, but some of these other candidates I think are really showing progression, maybe not in the polls, but just in the way that, especially in the debate, I think Nikki Haley had a great conversation. I know she is really for foreign policy. Also, I know even though DeSantis, I feel like he was fairly quiet during the debate. I don't know if you guys saw that, and I don't know if that hurted him or helped him. Mm-hmm. When candidates like that aren't really involved in the debate as much, sometimes it helps them, because when they bring out points that people don't agree with, it's like attack. So I would agree, I do think Trump is going to take the lead, but do I think that it's going to go his favor in the long run? No. I think that with what's going on with him currently, I think that is going to cause severe problems.
I think the secret question is, to agree with you guys, is truly that everybody knows President Trump has a strong lead, and if he's legally allowed to run in every state, he will. And there's a very good chance that he could beat Biden. We'll get into that one later. But if we're looking at it, it's more like the other contestants are trying to fit in the next 4 years. I feel like Ramaswamy's allying himself with Trump in the event that Trump wins, where he could, vice president or not, or a member of his cabinet or not, eventually run in the next election. And I think that's a similar situation with DeSantis. I think DeSantis is currently struggling right now, and he's starting to realize that it's not really looking good for him in terms of taking down Trump. But in the next 4 years, when Trump is legally out of the race, there is a possibility he's setting himself up for a good spot there. And, you know, just looking across, Haley really thinks that she's confident she could take down Trump. She's the only one I really think that knows that she could beat Biden. I don't think that's going to work out for her, but I do think she has a very good chance of also winning in 4 years. So it's almost like setting the platform for the next election.
Definitely agree. I feel like Trump's legacy just in the 4 years that he was president kind of overshadows all the other candidates, because we know Trump has a very strong personality and a very loyal fan base. I would say, going back to Ramaswamy, he's kind of trying to imitate Trump. We see in the way he presents himself in the debate, kind of a jokester, his punchy lines, frack, export oil, like it's very reminiscent of Trump in 2016, in 2020, this punchy personality. I don't think it really went over well for him in the debate, especially that comment he made about everybody else being bought for and everything. I think you could really tell that he pushed it a little too far, and he just didn't have, I guess, the same sway that Trump did. I feel like if Trump had made that comment, it could have passed. but because he's so new and he has never been in politics before, he tried something and it really, I think, backfired for him because we see that he did go down in the polls after.
Like you said, he really rode Trump in that debate, and I think he was doing that because he wants a VP spot with him, which I don't really see that happening.
I disagree. I see it 100%. Trump said he was a smart guy. I think there's a very good possibility it happens. There's not a lot of people that would want to be Trump's VP at this stage, especially in a race that's, I wouldn't say not winnable, but in a race that's going to be difficult to win. And I think Ramaswamy's ready for it. I think Ramaswamy oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just think it's risky. I just think he's too young for a lot of people because there are a lot of people in the Republican Party who are older and they might not want someone that young.
Right, but if you look at the voters' eye, they want a younger, they want a stronger speaker, and that's exactly what Ramaswamy can bring to the Republican Party, especially under a Trump who can only run for who can only be president for 4 years.
Right, I agree. Everyone, there's a big push now for the older generation in Congress and in the White House just to kind of step out of the way, and we're going to get into that a little later.
We will get into that a little bit, but I do want to say, I think Nikki Haley was a real winner of the debate. I mean, I think people are ready in this country for a woman. They want the right woman, which is why I think we haven't seen a woman in office yet besides the vice president. But people are ready for a woman in power. So I'm interested to see how she does with the rest of the race. What do we think about Donald Trump's absence within the debate? I mean, he chose to not come. Was this a power move, or do you think that this might have hurt him?
So I think that it helped him in ways because I can see him, if I imagine him on that debate, I feel like it could have been a lot of kind of attention towards him. I'm not going to lie. You know, when we saw this comment, Brett said, if a former President Trump is convicted in a court of law, would you still support him as your party's choice? All but 2 raised their hands. Right there, and you know, we saw people hesitantly, it was kind of like looking side to side, and you know, I think some candidates during that debate did that for their own sake. The media is following this. They know that a lot of Republicans are for Trump right now. They know that if they show their support, especially at a debate, in a debate scene like that, automatically they got maybe some people going like, oh, okay, Nikki's for, you know. So that brought in some, but Trump's stance for not being there, I think it did help him.
It was 100% a power move. I don't think you can question that it was a power move. Especially the fact that he's got such a strong lead in the polls and that it's going to be hard for him to bring in voters who are on the cusp of who they want to vote for in the party in the primaries. He did the right thing sitting out. He noticed in 2016 that it worked when he sat out of one of the Republican primaries. So why would he not do the same? And he sat down with Tucker Carlson, somebody that he knew would agree with just about every single thing he would say, and it really worked for him. It got a lot of views on Tucker's new platform, and his lead has actually expanded. Actually, recently, a couple days ago, it was at 52.7%. He now has 53% of the party. Not a large game, but it's really showing that him sitting out really helped. He let all the youngsters fight it out, I would say.
I totally agree with the power move aspect, especially with everything that's going on with Trump legally, with the indictments that he's facing. I mean, 91 felony charges, it's unprecedented. So how I saw it is that him sitting out was kind of like, this doesn't bother me. You know, like, no matter what, I'm still in the lead. So there's not much that you guys can do against me. And like Ryan was saying, you know, he let everybody else duke it out. And he's just kind of sitting in the back, eating his popcorn, just waiting for everybody to hit the polls for him to emerge as the victor.
Right.
These Republican candidates have a really fine line to tiptoe because they speak out against Trump too much, and since it's looking like he's going to get the nomination, they're not going to have as much support from the MAGA crowd. So I think they're all kind of like tiptoeing the line, how much do I say, how much don't I? But I think Nikki Haley she was really the only one that kind of like called him out for what he's done. And so we'll see. I could see him maybe picking her as a VP or Ron DeSantis. It would be interesting, but I wouldn't be surprised by either of those picks.
So here's my thing on the Trump VP situation. An experienced politician saw what happened to Pence. They agree with what Pence did. They realized the danger of constitutionally being responsible for Trump if something were to happen to him, for having to take over his administration, his administration's ideals. I think Vivek is up for it. I'm not sure anybody else would be up for it. If asked the question, I think they would think about it. But the only person who I think would truly say yes with confidence and really help Trump would be Vivek.
Right, and we see it even with the question of would you support Trump if, you know, he was convicted on all counts. Everybody else was kind of, like Francie was saying, was just kind of like just checking to make sure their colleagues were saying, but
vaccine
Ramaswamy
saw
was
that.
the only one who immediately, without any hesitation, like, this is a person who, if he doesn't make the presidential ticket, we could definitely see him on a Trump ticket. I personally agree with Ryan as well that I feel like they would create a very interesting duo, and they would definitely take the Republican Party by storm, I think.
I think we can all agree that the indictments haven't really hurt Trump as much as I think a lot of people thought. I mean, a poll this morning found that Trump was leading for the Republican Party, but both DeSantis and Trump were behind Biden by 2 and 5 points just this morning. So, I mean, I'm curious to think how you guys think Biden is doing in office. I mean, people are talking about age limits, term limits for office. You know, he's passed a lot of things. People criticize him for a lot of things. What do you guys think so far of, you know, his term?
A big thing with him is the whole age argument, and I don't think we can be hypocritical and say that Joe Biden's too old to be president when Donald Trump will be 78 if he takes office in 2025. But then we have Mitch McConnell, who's old as the hills. I mean, it's just how it is. Dianne Feinstein. So, like, all these people in Congress and in the White House, we need to, like, kind of check ourselves whenever we're saying that Biden's too old. Well, let's look at the others. They're old too. So it's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black here.
2 in 3 Americans would agree with the fact that he is way too
Right.
old. But however, his doctors have stated he's healthy, vigorous, 80-year-old male who is fit to successfully execute the duties of the presidency. So he's
Not hard to
mentally there.
believe.
But I'm a communications major. I'm a big fan of being able to communicate. He cannot do that. He can't do that.
Yeah.
He's going to bed.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He just cannot communicate with the American people.
Also, it just doesn't matter to me personally how healthy he is. At the end of the day, he belongs to a whole other world, a whole other era. It's going to be hard for him to continue to keep up with how dynamic America is, especially with the younger generation. Like, we have different priorities than the priorities that Biden had when he first was a senator in the U.S. Congress. It's just, like, it's incompatible, I feel like.
Yeah, when we think about age, I think this is a very valid point to bring up. So we see a lot of older people voting, and those are the people that are going to be voting for the older people. That's the trend we see. If we have more younger younger people going out and voting, there is going to be, I'm sure, they're going to go for the younger candidates. So I think that's also why we're seeing this trend, of older people, and it comes down to transparency as well. Like, if you have a candidate who is older or whatever, but they're experienced, they know what they're doing, and whatever, going up, tripping on stairs is causing
Falling off bicycles.
Right, and the media is going to attack that. They're going to eat it up.
Yeah, I think we can have this debate all day. I would personally say that, you know, presidents should be tested intellectually before they go into office, not based on age, because you can be 90 years old and be sharp. But yeah, I mean, that's all the time we have for today. I'm going to throw it back to you, Kate.
Well, that's all we have for this week's politics panel. Do you agree? Let us know down in the comments below. We'll be right back.
If Aquafina is singing, I don't want to be part of that world.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was not really good. That was not good. Okay, so taking away from let's say those.
Welcome back to Nittany Talk. For this segment, we'll be debating a hot topic regarding some of our favorite Disney classics. What do fans like more, the beloved Disney originals or the new modern live actions? Over to you, Joy.
Thanks, Kate. Today, remakes in every genre are growing more and more common. But is it growing in popularity? My co-hosts Audrey Keller, Jake Santora, Hannah Lowitz, and I will be discussing the impact of these remakes. Okay, so let's get into it. So Snow White, there is a new remake coming out of the Snow White from the original. And I do believe that it is nothing like the original. And I think they've taken a beautiful, like, original masterpiece and made it, it's not even, it doesn't resemble the original at all. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I'm going to have to agree with you, Joy. I personally think the attitude of Rachel Zegler, the leading character in the movie Snow White, has drawn negative attention to the film itself and from audiences worldwide who love the original film. So I think it's causing a lot of negative attention, and just some of the themes that they're doing in this movie to alter the original storyline, I think is going to cause lots of negative backlash whenever the movie eventually comes out.
I completely agree. I think it already has been getting backlash, but the trailer isn't out yet. We only know what we have from fragments of interviews with Rachel Zegler, who is playing Snow White, and a couple promotional pictures that were released of the things. And while I don't think it's not going to be like the original, it's more leadership centric. I don't think the prince is in it, according to her interviews, but I think it has potential to be okay.
Yeah. I do think the person that they cast, Rachel Zegler, as Snow White, she does have a lot of potential. So I think we just have to see where they take charge with that.
Yeah.
Like, the movie does have potential. We just got to see the first trailer.
She's an incredibly talented actress and singer, so I'm excited to see how that's going to translate.
Sure. So I basically think that although she may be a very talented actress, the way that she presents herself in her interviews, she seems very stuck up, snobby. I feel as though, like, the way that she says, in a quote, she did say in an interview that it's not like 1932 anymore. She's not being saved by the prince, and that it almost it's not relevant to today's society. But I feel like that's so far from the truth. It's supposed to be like a feminist take on Snow White, but I feel like the real idea of feminism is to make is to support ideals that women, they don't have to conform to everyday society. And I feel like by pushing a narrative that like girls have to like take on leadership roles, she's doing more damage than good.
And, you know, especially in Hollywood today, whenever they're trying to push the idea of inclusivity, you have to also take into mention it was Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, and they've already claimed them to be magical creatures, quote unquote, and they've gotten rid of dwarves entirely in the film. I believe there's only one little person casted within the role, and it's completely taken away, you know, a crucial aspect of the story. It's even in the title, and just to take away that, I know it's going to cause storyline issues throughout the entire production.
That is true.
I completely agree, but I also think that as for Rachel Zegler in these interviews, I think it's just a case of a 20-year-old not being media trained. And so I think if we can give her a little bit more grace as an actress, I think we can see past her maybe lack of PR training, then maybe we can seem to enjoy the movie.
Yeah, I do agree with that. So there is another remake that has recently come out, The Little Mermaid. I love The Little Mermaid, but what do you guys think about the way they portrayed? So obviously Halle Bailey is she is the role. She is Ariel. She is black, and in the originals, Ariel is white. But how do you guys feel about the new take on inclusivity for that range?
I think it's a great take to have Halle Berry as to play Ariel. I love seeing, especially where you see interviews of like little girls that, you know, may fit that picture, and they're like, I see someone playing those roles and it like influences me, or it makes them, you know, feel that they can have a presence, or they will have a presence in the film industry. I think she was a great casting role.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also too though, like a lot of people's problem with it was her race, which she's a mermaid. Mermaids aren't real guys. Like I don't think it matters like what race she is. And I think Halle Bailey just did like the most remarkable job, and I love this movie so much. I just rewatched it the other day, and it's just incredible.
For me, it was Bailey's vocals that kind of carried the film for me. I thought she was nothing short of incredible. But I think one thing that easily stood out to me the most, while the songs and the new songs themselves were pretty good, I could not stand that new Scuttle song that they had. It was horrible. And I remember going to bed that night and I just heard it ringing in my head. It was just terrible. I'm sorry.
Hey, it's catchy, and it's a
I know, literally.
I get it in your head.
I almost cried myself to sleep that night. It was so horrible.
I know it's Awkwafina singing, but like it was a good song. It's a catchy song.
It was for kids, and they had Lin-Manuel Miranda on the project, and like that rap style is like his like thing, and that's what he brought to the project. And I think that if you can look past, I think Awkwafina's voice in general, especially in song form, just in that song form, just was a little bit grating. But I think otherwise it just like, I thought it was cute, and I thought a lot of kids would be into it. So
if Awkwafina is singing, I don't want to be part of that world.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was not
really good.
That was not good. Okay, so taking away from let's say those, I'll say subpar like songs, to the least, let's talk about Cinderella in the new 2015 remake of Cinderella?
I think this is one of the best Disney live action remakes ever. I think they did justice to the character and to the storyline so well, and the cinematography that they had for this movie was incredible.
Yeah.
And they made all of the characters more dimensional, and the entire message of like have courage and be kind is just something I think is important for all little kids to hear, because again, these are Disney movies. The audience is little kids. So
Yeah. Also, their costumes and their outfits in that movie, outstanding. Cinderella's her last dress.
That
Come
is
on.
true. I
Can't
think
animate
that
that.
dress was gorgeous. I loved it. And I think that's a really good, like, that 2015 Cinderella was a good example of, like, what a good live remake should be. Like, not taking away from any of the original qualities, but still bringing that new and modern take onto it.
Out of all of like the live action movies, people say that Cinderella was the best live remake.
Yeah, I do agree. Okay, sadly, that is all the time we have for Disney remakes. We hope you enjoyed hearing both sides on a current controversy. As much as we would love to keep these going, there are more exciting segments coming up on Nittany Talk. Back to you, Kate.
Well, those were some of our thoughts on the Disney live-action remakes. Do you agree with the points they made? Up next, we will be talking about the tour that took over the U.S. We'll be right back.
I was actually at that show, so I was lucky enough to see some of the outfits for the first time, like the new Evermore dress.
Oh my gosh, and like folklore, like her dresses, they're like so flowy, like she's like...
Welcome back to Nittany Talk. For this segment, we will be discussing our favorite superstar, Taylor Swift, and her one heck of a summer, selling nearly $1 billion in ticket revenue during the Eras Tour. I'm Kate Delmonico, and I'm joined by Marielle Reese, Gigi Fuentes, and Jackson Tortone to recap this historic tour and to look forward to the future. So, what do we think about the set list?
I was able to go, and I was absolutely like blown away. 44 songs in like a 3-hour show, like covering all her albums. I mean, what do you guys think? Like, I was like blown away. I think she picked an amazing.
So I'll be honest, I was not able to go. I saw some videos.
You
and
must
like,
be so sad.
she was very mad at me in the DMs, you know.
Oh, of
But
course, of course.
I wasn't able to go, but I was very impressed with the set list, though.
So I'm with Jackson. I actually haven't gotten a chance to go to her tour, but I have seen it on TikToks and YouTube Lives. I've just been like looking at my phone like, oh my God, I wish I was there. But it is crazy. Like she has done 3 hours. I can't believe that. Like the amount of work she must have put into that is crazy. Like,
no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And what like really like I was so excited because obviously I watch all the TikTok live streams before was the outfit changes. Okay.
Yes.
13, which like her lucky
Right.
number. We knew it was gonna be 13.
It had to be 13.
13 outfit changes, and she kept changing them throughout. Like as the shows come on, like she changed outfits at MetLife, which was like the show right after that I went to, and I was so upset. I was like,
I was actually at that show, so I was lucky enough to see some of the outfits for the first time, like the new Evermore dress.
Oh my gosh, and like folklore, like her dresses, they're like so flowy. Like she like spins around with them, and her enchanted dress, like that. Like for the Enchanted song, when she changes into that, like a whole gown. And the first time I saw that, I was genuinely shocked. I was like, the amount of like dress changes that she has done.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So we have to give kudos to her for how fast she can change dresses.
Exactly.
And, like she's done it for so many years, and it's so impressive with her. Yes.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Okay, I have to ask, what's your favorite like off the set list? You know, obviously she covered all 10 albums. I'm gonna kind of exclude Speak Now because she only did one song.
Yeah.
But out of all of them, like, which one was your guys' favorite?
I would say Getaway Car. When she performed that, I was in New York. So when she performed at MetLife for Getaway Car, I was like, oh, I wish I was there. But I really loved that song. And I also think she performed Clean. And that's personally one of my favorite songs. So that was like a surreal like moment that I think for a lot of people. Because Clean just has like that like thing in a lot of people's like spirits when they like think about that song. They're like, oh, I connect with that song so much. Because it has a lot of meaning into it. And I think the meaning kind of goes like for like different people. And like has different like symbolism.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah.
I was actually lucky enough. Getaway Car is my favorite song, and I was at MetLife Night 1 when Jack Antonoff came out.
And
I got to hear it.
Lucky.
I was crying. That was I could not have asked for a better Eras Tour experience. I got to see that. That was my by far favorite song.
Yeah. And speaking about being at like MetLife, and I was at the Lincoln Financial Field, the merch truck lines.
Yes.
I thought they were. Well, I myself waited I dragged my poor little sister 4 hours waiting outside.
4 hours?
Yes, and I got a sweatshirt. It's amazing. I wear it
Okay.
all the
Yeah.
time.
Did you get the blue crew neck?
You do wash it, right? You do put it in the washing machine, right?
Yeah, I do. Well,
Okay.
I iron it before.
Okay,
That's the
I'm
trick.
sorry.
That's the
Danielle.
trick.
But
Yeah.
I do wash it. No, I did. I actually could have gotten the blue crew neck, but then I was like, it's not that nice. So I got
Yeah.
the black sweatshirt for picture instead.
Okay.
Yeah.
But going back to like Met and I, Link Financial Field, let's talk about all of the surprise guests / like special
Yes.
announcements
Mhm.
that she brought to stage.
Yeah, so for special announcements, like 1989 that just recently got announced, Speak Now, that was a major moment.
Yes.
The surprise announcement, everyone went crazy because I don't think we've had like a live announcement just like that in any like recent or like modern days, for at least for Taylor Swift. So like for her to do that in a concert must have been just a shock for everyone, because you go to a concert to listen to the music. For that announcement for Speak Now is just crazy.
She is always full of surprises her whole career.
Right.
I know exactly. It was just so exciting. I love how like unique she made every experience for every single fan.
With Taylor Lautner, Joey King.
Yes.
Those
Ice
surprise.
Spice.
Yes.
Yes.
Who would have thought that Ice Spice and Taylor Swift would have collabed though? Like I think that was a shock too. Like for the song
Yeah.
Karma, and that was just crazy.
Well, I think we can all agree that she's just did an outstanding job, and we
Yes.
can't wait to see the rest of her tour. She has a couple legs left, so we'll definitely I'll be on TikTok watching all those
For
videos.
sure.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have for this look at one of the greatest events for Swifties in recent memory. I hope you enjoyed our take, as well as the epic performances put on by T Swizzle herself. Stay tuned for some news updates. We'll be right back.
Next up, we have a convicted murderer on the run in Chester County. Honestly, when I heard about this, I was like,
Welcome back to Nittany Talk. For this segment, we will be covering some of the latest news stories hitting the media today. Over to you, Abby.
thanks, Kate. Today, we'll be discussing a big change coming to McDonald's restaurants across the nation, the court case between Google and the Department of Justice, and the Philadelphia prisoner on the run. My name is Abby Shashu, and I am here with my co-hosts, Mark Gebhardt, Ellie Miller, and Arushi Mesaria. Let's dive in. So first, we have McDonald's getting rid of their self-serve drink machines by 2032. I think that's kind of crazy because there have been just so much news around self-serve drink machines over the couple years.
Yeah.
But Mark, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a big move. It's a giant move for McDonald's. Their self-serve machines.
Come on, that's iconic. But yeah, but I think it's a smart move for the business, but I don't know how the customers are going to take it. But they're doing it for health concerns. So.
Health concerns, they're saying people are abusing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely losing money.
Mm-hmm.
I think the health concern is interesting. I don't think they would
Well,
care.
it's a little bit contradictory, though, because they are still giving...
They're McDonald's, but they take away the soda. So
right,
now
but if you go up to the counter and you ask for a refill, it's still free. So the thoughts there,
Ellie, what do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. I mean, as long as I'm still getting my free refill, I'm okay with
absolutely,
it. It's gonna suck that it's not right in front of me, but what can you do?
No, agreed. And going into our next story, Google is being sued by the U.S., Department of Justice.
Yes.
Over being a big tech monopoly or like their anti-competitive practices, which is kind of like, wow. Honestly, the amount of dominance they've built up over the years is kind of crazy. What are your guys' thoughts?
I think it's very smart, because, actually, do I think it's smart? Probably not, because what are their competition? What are you going to do? Bing, No, that's like the dark web,
Yahoo.
You only go to Bing when you're trying to figure out some crazy things, But
really?
yeah, but mainly Google, I think, they really dominate. They really dominate when it comes to the search engine. So
yeah, that's true.
Well, this has been 3 years in the making. As we know, the DOJ under the Trump administration recently brought this forth 3 years ago, and now it's just coming up again. And I think it is really interesting considering it is the biggest tech monopoly of the 21st century so far. And I'm excited to see where this goes. I mean, who knows if Google's going to win, if the DOJ is going to win, but either way, it's going to make headlines.
I think it's definitely interesting to see where the outcome of this will be, since it's 3 years in the making, to see where it will end up, but it's still in the process of, so
No, understandable. Especially, this isn't the DOJ's first roundabout with like breaking up a monopoly.
Exactly.
They did this like before in the 1990s with Microsoft.
With Microsoft.
So it's really going to be interesting to watch where this goes over the next 3 months, maybe longer, depending on what they find.
Exactly. Yeah.
But next up, we have a convicted murderer on the run in Chester County. Honestly, when I heard about this, I was like, wow, 2 weeks. 2 weeks and they still haven't got him.
Daniello Cavalcante.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, he is the one that escaped prison like he was an American Ninja Warrior.
Right.
Right? He's the one that climbed up the wall like Spider-Man.
Right, climbed up the wall, exactly. He committed murder of his ex-girlfriend, so, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's just like they spotted him very recently on someone's Ring doorbell camera.
Is that right?
Yes, yeah. And now he's like armed and dangerous with someone's rifle, and it's
Did he
just
look the exact
crazy.
same, or did he try to change up his look?
Tried to change up his
He
look.
did.
Is that right? What did he do?
Yeah.
Shaved beard, I heard. Shaved
Yep.
beard,
Really?
shaved head. Shaved
He's-
head.
he's
Wow.
I bleached
gone.
my hair, you know, like wax eyebrows. You
Well,
know?
that might be hard when you're a convicted felon on the run.
Well,
Yeah.
you
Getting
never
those
know. Oh, they got a
supplies.
couple face tats too.
A little
Really
too,
throw them off.
little too obvious, don't you think? Like,
Huh?
the whole appearance changed.
No. Come on, you already look like you. Might as well look different.
Right.
For convicted
Why
for
not?
life, you know. So.
I guess so. But I'm sure people are going to be trying to find him, considering the reward they're offering. So
What's the reward?
$25,000.
Mm.
Yeah, for information leading to his arrest.
And how many people are looking?
That's the whole Chester
Five-
County.
Whole Chester County.
500.
Yeah.
Consider it
Yeah.
501 now, you know. Tuition's expensive.
Not to mention
you
they
know.
are like under lockdown right now. The homes are exercising caution, locking their homes. I mean,
Even here,
schools, yeah.
It's a very concerning situation. Hopefully they'll catch him, and honestly, PA will be safe.
Yes.
But we'll see what happens with that. But anyways, earlier today, as was said earlier, authorities said that Cavalcante is now armed and urge local residents to take caution. They're also offering a reward for information leading to his arrest. Back to you, Kate.
Thanks, Abby. Well, that's all we have for news this week. Up next, we will be turning our attention to the catwalk. We'll be right back.
Future, I could see it going a lot of places, especially with all the colors and the patterns. I think it is so cool, and I love it. I think it's hot, for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Welcome back to Nittany Talk. For this segment, we will be talking all things Fashion Week. Over to you, Aisling.
Thanks, Kate. I'm joined today with Becca Cohen, Emma Goldkopf, and Aisling Smith. And today we are going to be discussing all things fashion more specifically, New York Fashion Week. New York Fashion Week is like Christmas to me. Sometimes you get something great, and other times you get the ugliest shirt you've ever seen. With that being said, we have each picked a model or celebrity we want to highlight. Together, we are going to decide whether or not the outfit or trend is hot or not.
Okay, so first we have Lisa. We've seen her from the Days of Our Lives. We've seen her in the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And now, unfortunately, we've seen her in the ugliest outfit I've ever seen in my entire life. Lisa, girl, I don't know what you're doing. The cheetah is so outdated. Fashion Week's all about future trends, and we're taking it back 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, I was 9. And when I was 9, I would think this is still ugly. So Lisa, it's a no from me. Hot or not, it's a big flop.
I'm going to have to agree. The only thing I'm liking about this is the cohesion between the hair and the sunglasses and the rest of the outfit. But other than that, it's just no. That's all I have to say about this.
I completely agree. I think Lisa is not very forthcoming in any of her outfits. She gives what she gives. She doesn't do anything unique. She doesn't do anything surprising. She's very follow the line, atypical, and come on, Lisa, we need to see someone step it up a bit.
I think this is just giving very Tiger, Zoo Mama kind of vibes. Now, I love it for her, but for New York Fashion Week, I just don't see this getting very far. And I don't think it's really pushing the trends up, which is why I'm going to have to pass and say this is not a look for me.
Mm-hmm.
Next.
This is going to be, I love this. I think this is hot. I don't know if I would wear the whole shebang. Maybe if it was like a dress or something like that, but I love it. I love unique patterns. It's giving grandma sweater, you will catch me in grandma sweaters in the fall. You've seen me walking around campus. I will have flowers and ugly patterns all over me. This is not ugly though. I love this. So this is definitely hot for me.
Personally, I'm going to have to completely agree with you. I think here they do a great job at pulling in a bunch of different looks from different eras. Fashion is all about what's coming up, and as people always say, history repeats itself, trends come back, old trends from the 90s, from the 2000s, even from the 80s. We see all these things over and over again, and here in this look, we can see things from different eras and different times. It's just great.
I feel that this look isn't as practical for me. However, I love it as a trend, and moving forward in the future, I could see it going a lot of places, especially with all the colors and the patterns. I think it is so cool, and I love it. I think it's hot for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And then Becca, you have the next one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, actually.
Oh, you have the next one.
This is mine. This is my favorite look. I thought this was something that I feel that this is just putting trends up there. I think this is great for New York Fashion Week. It isn't doing too much, but I think it's giving the perfect amount, and I love the headpiece and the coordination with the whole outfit. I think she looks amazing. This is so hot. My favorite for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is really good. I think the fall or autumn girls are gonna love this one. Red and the scarlet color has been a huge theme in Fashion Week this week, and I could definitely see that being popular in the future.
I completely agree. This outfit is right on trend with everything we see models and, influencers wearing. She's wearing a headscarf. She's wearing a low-cut top with a hole in the middle. She's giving everything that everyone wants to see.
What's the last one?
I'm curious.
My favorite. Can we see the last one?
Last one. Oh.
All right, I guess that's all we...
Okay, so here we have Julia Fox. I think this look for me is hot because it's Julia Fox. She is doing everything that we expect her to do. She's making a statement. She's wearing a 3D printed poodle dress. She's wearing 12-inch heels. She's making a name for herself. Although it might not be practical, she's doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Well, regardless of our opinions, one of the best things about New York Fashion Week is that everyone is able to make their own opinions. Within the next couple months, we'll see Fashion Week in places like London, Milan, Los Angeles, and Paris, highlighting the spring and summer collections of 2024. We're sure that there'll be more wonderful and also questionable looks in the near future. Back to you, Kate.
I'd have to agree with you, Aisling. Well, that's all for this week's episode. We hope you all enjoyed the show, and make sure to come back next week for our new entertainment panel. For Nittany Talk, I'm Kate Delmonico. See you next time.